At the time of this video's publication, Quantum Integrity Incorporated and Dead Matter stand at the edge of oblivion. According to internal company records leaked last year to Kira TV, QI will run out of money in either November or December of this year. Given the backlash from the gaming community towards their disastrous Steam Early Access release, there is nothing anyone can or really wants to do to stop this company and game from slipping into the darkness. QI's CEO and lead developer Nicholas Zorko, also known as Johnny Guitar, recently gave an extended interview to Abyssal Cards, a streamer on Twitch. This is remarkable because this is the only instance that I'm aware of that Nick has spoken at this kind of extended length outside of prepared development blogs that QI has published. The interview is exceedingly long at 2 hours and covers many topics, mostly because of tangents that Nick would initiate. In spite of the interview being very unstructured, Abyssal does manage to ask some tough questions. Nick's responses and performance in this interview are revealing. As you listen to his responses, remember that this is a man who is the CEO of a gaming company that benefited from one of the most successful crowdfunding campaigns ever. And, even though he continues to deny it, a massive investment from a multi-billion-dollar international gaming conglomerate, Tencent. By some estimates, QI has received just under $10 million and had 6 years to develop a zombie survival game. What did the estimated 50,000 plus backers get from this game? Well, not a whole lot. The early access version of Dead Matter is a jumbled mess of bugs, unfinished work, poor performance, and sloppy implementation. It is an absolutely broken game. I will not be playing or live commentating the entire interview as I originally intended. Believe it or not, I actually like my viewers. You guys are pretty great, and I'm unsure if subjecting people to this level of discomfort wouldn't be illegal in some states. I, unfortunately, watched this entire 2-hour interview, so you don't have to. Now, I know before you say it, you're welcome. Just feel free to like, sub, and comment below after watching the entire video. A note on the editing. I have tried to be fair as possible to Nick. I have tried to preserve as much of the context of what he is saying as I can, given that his answers sometimes drone on for minutes. This video is edited for time. I've given timestamps to the original video from the sections that I've utilized in the description below. If you would like to explore Nick's responses further, I invite you to utilize those references. Let's get on with it. I cannot tell you how painful and frustrating Nick's responses were. Many of the statements that Nick makes are extremely troubling, since he maintains that the game will get finished and that everything is fine, even though, by all accounts, the walls are collapsing around him and his company. During the interview, he is sometimes condescending, arrogant, incompetent, deceptive, and evasive. His performance paints a picture of someone in way over their head and living in a reality that looks nothing like what anybody else sees. He frequently struggles with basic facts related to his company.
Can I ask how much you raised in total through crowdfunding?
Sure. I don't have an accurate number for what we raised through our website, but what I can tell you is that it was right around $1 million US, and that the Indiegogo campaign brought in $2.1 million Canadian. I believe that's around 1.9 or so US, and we have the the Kickstarter, which also raised, I believe, $250,000 US, I believe.
Can I ask why the game looks worse than it did years ago?
I think that's a bit of a loaded question, but really, I mean, I'm not here to dismiss that sort of question. It's just more, I think that I have another question for you and then I can get you a better answer, which is, are you talking about more of the gameplay or the like art itself?
Gameplay.
Gameplay wise, well, it's
I mean honestly it looks like both. Who am I kidding?
The game?
Yeah, both.
Yeah, on the graphical side, I mean, I'm not really on the art team, but I can say that like we did scrap the original map that we had, and we scrapped a lot more other things with that when we rebuilt the game after the release of the closed alpha.
At one point, Nick actually had to look up what the remaining 13 employees he has on his staff actually do.
These 13 people, what exactly are they doing? What are their roles?
Sure, let me just get a list of that out so that I can go through that with you. So we have 2 people that their role is primarily design and gameplay. We have 2 people where their role is primarily on the art side. We then have a character artist, and then we have an additional, so that's 5, and then me. So then there's actually 4 programmers on top of that, and then we have 5 programmers on top of that, and then 2 level designers, and a auxiliary character artist as well.
It is shocking that given the intimacy that a small dev team must experience while they're working on a game, that Nick is not aware of every activity that each of his 13 employees are engaged in, let alone their actual job titles. Throughout the entire interview, Nick employs common rhetorical strategies designed to avoid giving straight answers to simple questions. He frequently gives long, wandering answers that go into various areas in an effort to tire out the listener. This is his response to a question about why some bugs were not fixed before launching into early access. His original answer is 2 minutes and 35 seconds long. I have edited it for time.
Like something as simple as that, you know, like you see it's not right. Why wouldn't you just like...
Because we weren't aware of what was causing the issue with them. So, and the issue that we're having with them right now is that they are getting stuck on that single point. Simulating infected for like 25 players on one server, easily 30, 40, 50.
This is similar to what we see in QI's marketing material for Dead Matter. The updates that QI posts on their main website are loaded with text. Every time QI misses a deadline or fails to fulfill a promise, they revert to the strategy of just throwing more and more words out in an effort to keep up the appearance that something is happening when, in reality, nothing of benefit is happening for the customer. Further, Nick relies on the laziness of his listeners to hide and misrepresent material facts. Nick continues to assert that the company received no funding in the last 3 years. This appears to be completely false. Nick still claims that Tencent is not an investor in QI or Dead Matter.
And sorry, you said you didn't take any capital from Tencent, or it was like a minuscule amount, right?
No, it was not Tencent.
Nothing at all from them?
No. I wish.
Why didn't they?
I don't know. We never really talked to them. So
literally nothing?
Yeah, not from them. No.
Okay, interesting. I was told otherwise.
Here's another example.
We do not have an investment from Tencent. There is a private shareholder. I can't disclose a lot about them. You can look it up on our public record, the corporate records. It'll show you like who it is.
Wait, what did he just say?
The corporate records. It'll show you like who it is.
Oh, really? $5? Son of a bitch! The corporate registry for the province of Alberta lists a company called Sharp Growth Canada Limited as holding 26% of voting shares in QI Software. Sharp Growth is a registered external entity in the province of British Columbia. Due to the way that corporate registries work in that province, the shareholders are not listed. However, the Alberta registry does list Sharp Growth's address, which, if you conduct a simple search, turns out to be this very nice looking building in Hong Kong. If only there was a way to find out who worked in that building. The exact same address is listed on Tencent's website as being part of their Hong Kong operations. I cannot unequivocally say that Sharp Growth is a shell company for Tencent in Canada, so we'll just have to take Nick's word that this company, which for some reason owns 26% of the voting shares of his company and just coincidentally happens to be located on the exact same floor that is either owned or completely occupied by Tencent, is not Tencent.
No. I wish.
Besides thinking that we're stupid, Nick also attempts to appeal to the sympathy of the listener. This is his response to a question about why the devs appear so hostile to the community since launch.
When you make a game, you cut up pieces of yourself and you put them into the game, right? And a lot of the team that has been here for a long time, we're all very conscious of the fact that like people like and all those guys that have been here for, a long time, because there's, about 6 or 7 of us that are like veteran members that came back to the project, right? Those guys know how to handle criticism. They know, they would probably do fine in these sort of interviews, but in terms of like talking to the more shy members of the team, yeah, it's probably just stressing them out more than anything. Even I was like getting very stressed out over the weekend, but at the end of the day, it's just, again, when you cut pieces of yourself up and put them into a project like this.
This caring Nick expresses for his team is admirable, and it would be believable if it didn't completely contrast with the alleged abusive treatment of employees described by 2 former QI devs I interviewed last week, and the multitude of Glassdoor reviews detailing alleged harassment, nepotism, and inappropriate behavior. This strategy almost works if you suddenly contract amnesia and forget that this current situation is completely of his own making. He has been scamming millions of dollars from thousands of people for nearly a decade now. Allegedly scamming. I forgot to say allegedly. Apparently, if you say allegedly, then you can say all kinds of crazy shit. Like, I'm allegedly making a game. Give me money. Nick is asked about the biggest mistakes he made in regards to the game's development. This is his answer.
I don't want to say that the problems that we are facing are the problems of the people that we hired. I want to at least take some level of responsibility for that.
So would you say that, you messed up with who you hired?
I would say in some ways, yes.
Former devs also cite Nick's propensity to blame others and deflect responsibility, even though he is the CEO of the company. And this leads us to the final and possibly most egregious alleged falsehood that Nick peddles in this interview. Nick is asked, why did you release the game into early access now, given its current state? And just a slight warning, you need to hold on. This one is going to hit hard.
Like, did anyone come to you and say, no, don't release that yet? And
no.
So who primarily pushed you to release it?
Like I said, it was, we were doing these live builds and we wanted to put a bit more time into it, but then we blew past the August date, and then I became hyperfixated on just wanting to get it out as soon as we could, and that was me that made that decision, and I'll take an L for it.
Why did you become fixated on that though? Like, what drew you to making that decision?
Because I'm fixated on trying to do everything I can to address the community.
That's right. It's you. You did this. You gave Nick your hard-earned money and forced him to make this game. You wanted, nay, demanded that he release the game even though you knew it wasn't ready. It has nothing to do with the fact that internal company documents show that the company is going to run out of money in about 2 months, or that there's no other crowdfunding sources left on the internet to exploit, and Steam Early Access is the only place this game can go. No, it wasn't any of that. It was you. How the fuck could you do that? How do you sleep at night? You should be ashamed of yourself. QI will be dead by the end of the year, and many of their employees will be out of work and have to live with the stain of this abomination on their resumes for years to come. I reached out to Nick for an interview but was declined, and I have been since kicked from the Dead Matter Partner Discord for reasons which have yet to be explained, but might actually be totally explainable. I have nothing to say to you but fuck you. And for you hardcore Dead Matter simps out there, rest easy, because there will be more. Nick has vowed that he is going to continue with its development, even in the event the company shuts down.
What I can tell you is that we are dedicated, and a lot of the people that are on the team are going to stick through this through thick and thin, myself included.
And I, for one, believe him. I believe that he is definitely going to continue with this game. For the last decade, this is the only game he knows. How do you give it up at this point? And for those of you who think we didn't get to play a game about a rotting corpse in Alberta, Canada, you're wrong. It just wasn't the kind of game you expected. And if you want to keep playing, just head over to Dead Matter's Steam page. It's only $40 for the best alternate reality game you'll ever play. Allegedly, all the money went to hookers and blow. What was wrong with that? Okay, fine. Allegedly, Bobby Kotick is an automaton controlled by the lizard people. Allegedly, you don't need to wash your hands if you got a clean dick. Yeah, no one's gonna believe that shit.